reason, and faith. Faith and reason. What's in between these two things? We are. As Unitarian Universalists, our fourth principle guides us in our faith, exhorting us to engage in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. For some of us, it means embracing a scientific rationalism that may eradicate the possibility of, or even, I think I can say this here among friends, the need for God. For some of us, it may involve studying metaphysical philosophies. Others practice Buddhism. Some are pagans. Still others may be theists, existing on a spectrum from agnostic to Hindu, Christian, Jew, or Muslim, just to name a few of the many options in the world. UUs are a diverse bunch spiritually. For many of us, though, this free and responsible search does not, at its core, embrace the idea of God, and certainly not the capital G God of Euro-American Christianity. It's difficult to have faith. It's difficult to have faith in something that we cannot see. It's difficult to have faith in a divine being that a variety of religious texts from the Abrahamic traditions tells us to believe in a six-day creation, that we are created in his image, and that when we die, we will be judged. And upon that judgment, we will be sent to heaven or we will be sent to hell. It is difficult to have faith when we, Unitarian Universalists, are on average one of the most highly educated religious groups in America, filled with knowledge that, taken on its own, may point us away from the possibility of the spiritual or the supernatural. All of this knowledge can point us towards a world in which it is difficult to imagine traditional religious faith being the solution to the issues that we face. You may have been asking yourselves, why did he title this thing Dragons Are Real? You may be saying to yourselves, that's silly. Of course dragons aren't real. They're simply figments of our imagination. You may be saying right now to the person sitting next to you, why did we bother attending this morning? Last service, they didn't laugh. Thank you very much. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about the nature of facts and the nature of fictions, given that the phrase alternative facts recently entered the English language. Let's start with fictions. Jake? Exhibit A, slide 1. Yeah, we need the lights turned down a little bit more. Dragons are big, winged creatures that fly around for either good or evil while they burn things down with their breath of fire. They may or may not speak in a voice that sounds like Sean Connery. This is Dragonheart, that's Dennis Quaid. It was like 1987 or 8, I don't know, something like that. They're a staple of fantasy books and movies. Sometimes they are tiny and cute and say funny things like this guy in slide 2 here, that's Mushu from the movie Mulan, if you've seen that. He's very funny, voiced by Eddie Murphy. Sometimes they say nothing, but are terrifying, like this dragon from Game of Thrones. Sometimes they get Disney-fied, even more so than Mushu. This is the original Pete. I remember this from when I was a kid. It was awesome. He's made a swing set. He's so big he can hold up the swing for the other characters in the movie. We humans are wonderfully good at realizing what exists in our imaginations as words on a page or an image in a film. We are capable of dreaming up wondrous worlds that will never exist here on earth, even as children. No, especially as children. We are capable, with a moment's notice, of inventing our own fantastical worlds in which there are essentially no limits to what we can imagine. Okay, that's fiction. So now let's look at Exhibit B. Dragons very much exist on Earth today, just without the fire-breathing destruction, impossible physics of flight, or the dulcet tones of Sean Connery voicing their thoughts. Slide 1 shows us the fortuitously named Komodo dragon. They live in Indonesia. They have grown as large as 10 feet long. They can weigh between 150 and 180 pounds. They secrete a toxic substance from glands in their mouths. They hunt in packs, and they can reproduce via parthenogenesis, meaning a lone female Komodo dragon can produce a clutch of eggs containing male Komodo dragons if there are no other members of her species around. Additionally, Komodo dragons will hunt and kill humans. And as a non-toxic human being of about 180 pounds, I do not want to meet up with a pack of these. Okay, slide 2, Exhibit B, much more pleasant. This is the basilisk lizard. It's sometimes known as the Lagarto de Jesus Cristo in its Amazonian home. It not only looks cool, but it got its name from the fact that it can run on water. It does not kill people. It's only about this big. But it is awesome. All right, slide 3. That is a saltwater crocodile. It is a native of the southern region of the Pacific. Think northern Australia, the islands just north of there. It can reach a size in excess of 20 feet and weigh as much as a small car. This is a photo of the largest one that we know to exist. It was a resident of Gondwanaland back in the day, 98 million years ago, before the ancient supercontinent broke up into the continents we know today. And it eats people. Why do I show you these lizards? The world is full of creatures that inspire our imaginations. Some of them are reptiles. Some do weird, crazy things. Some will hunt and devour a person. And I want you to consider that it was our imaginations that transformed these magnificent and wondrous animals into even more magnificent and wondrous dragons. As Mike mentioned, the theme for this month here at CVUUF is wonder. I will admit the world is a stressful place, and wonder is something for which it is hard to make time. There was a night a couple of years ago during which I was reclined in my camping chair while camping. I was in a place mostly untainted by the lights of any city. There were stars, lots and lots of stars. Well, they're always there, right? But with the light pollution, you can't see them. You see a few, you see the brightest ones, you see the planets, so on and so forth. It's almost like, it was like being in the high Sierras, and if any of you have ever been camping up there, the stars there at night, when you're up at 8,000 plus feet, they're as bright as anywhere in the continental 48 states. What I saw that night, though, it wasn't only the individual stars, and there were a lot of them. It was the nearest arms of the Milky Way. And not the chocolate bar with the creamy nougat center, I like those. But it was the galaxy, of course. The galaxy in which our solar system resides. And when I say arms, I mean I saw the closest arm to my view, but I also saw the next one like over. And I saw it in 3 dimensions. It had a depth to it that I hadn't seen before. I'd seen it before, but for some reason that night it was especially clear. And it had a physicality to it. Like you could see how many stars, you couldn't see the stars in the arm, of course, but you could see that it was incredible. In that moment, I saw and I realized just how immense our galaxy is. In that moment, I saw the arms of the galaxy. Each of those arms contains an uncountable number of stars. Uncountable. Uncountable to any human in their lifetime. And I realized in that moment just how limited my ability is to grasp the immense scale of the galaxy, the immense scale of the universe. Who else has ever felt like this? I mean, raise your hands if you've ever felt like this. Come on.
So, Erik, sorry to interrupt you here. I think I can help you with this.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I have a way to wake us up a little bit and maybe help you overcome your overwhelming anxiety.
Well, I saw Carol Rosenthal had her hand up.
Oh, Carol. Well, let me help you. How's that?
Yeah.
Should we bring her up?
Yes, please.
All right. Good morning, Carol. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Why don't you have a seat here, over here, and we can deal with this existential crisis, all right? Here we go. I hope that helped.
Thank you, Carol and Joel. I don't know what else to say. I think I can stop talking now. The universe, the basically infinite universe. Is it infinite, really? No, not really. But for our purposes, as humans with a lifespan measured in decades, it is, for all intents and purposes, infinite. Infinite in a way that, well, understandable in numerical terms, as you just heard. There are X numbers of galaxies, solar systems, planets in the universe. If you were to calculate all that out, you could come up with numbers. It's not necessarily understandable in the metaphysical sense. Just how big is infinite when we think about the size of the universe? What does it mean that there are an uncountable number of planets in an uncountable number of solar systems, in an uncountable number of galaxies, spread across a universe that we keep discovering goes on and on and on and on? Just a few months ago, in October of 2016, NASA published the following. The universe suddenly looks a lot more crowded thanks to a deep sky census assembled from surveys taken by NASA's Hubble Space Telescope and other observatories. Astronomers came to the surprising conclusion that there are at least 10 times more galaxies in the observable universe than previously thought. What? 10 times more, and we've already got tons and tons of them? And that's just the observable universe. It's over that way, or I don't know where it is. Ask Karina Lepik, or Dick Elsley, or Kathleen Holland to explain which way we should be looking, because I don't know where it is. In this hand, remember we had reason and we had faith. I'm going to rename it a little bit. In this hand, we have our logical, scientific selves, capable of, as Joel just sang, understanding the near infinite vastness of the universe, capable of scientific discoveries that delve into the nature of matter itself. And it is so easy to walk away from our imaginations when we understand our small, tiny, insignificant, and on some level, meaningless place in the universe. There, I said it, meaningless. In this hand, we have our emotional, spiritual selves, capable of, as Joel just demonstrated, creating art that allows us to explore the near infinite vastness of the universe, exploring using poetry, painting, sculpture, novels, film, theater, and song to delve into the meaning of life itself. We make our small, tiny, insignificant lives on a small planet in an infinite universe meaningful. There, I said it. Meaningful. So here we are. We have the yin and yang of being human. We search for knowledge, and we search for meaning. We create theorems, and then we create art. Since our ancestors became human, we as a species have searched for meaning. We have created mythologies to explain our place in the world, to explain where we came from, to explain why we are here, to give meaning to our lives. But we live in an age where science has explained, well, mostly everything. It has certainly shown us that the universe is essentially infinite. I know that it is not technically infinite, and I don't really want to argue with anyone about it, because I'm not looking at you. I see you there. I understand that in absolute terms it is not infinite, but loosely speaking, it is absolutely infinite. So what can we do with this overwhelmingly large universe? We can do anything we want. Albert Einstein said the following words: "Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand." Think about that for a second. Imagination is more important than knowledge. I'm just quoting the guy. Don't drop out of school. Knowledge is important, but imagination may be more important than knowledge. I think this might bring us full circle. Are dragons real? The answer, as we saw earlier, is both yes and no. But now, let's posit the same question in an infinite universe. UC Santa Barbara's Science Line website estimates the number of stars at approximately 10 to the 21st power through 10 to the 24th power, depending on how you do the math and averaging the sizes of galaxies and so on and so forth, and what we can see, and that's in the observable universe. That number does not include, and that's a 10 with 24 zeros after it at the upper end. That number does not include stars that may exist beyond our ability to observe them, beyond the distance that we can see, 13.4 billion light years, I believe. That's an awful lot of stars. Let's back up a few years now. 98 million years. Remember our friend, the saltwater crocodile, the big scary thing that was up on the screen? Lived, again, 98 million years ago. Doesn't fly, but is quite possibly a progenitor of our dragon myths. Planet Earth, of course, actually had flying reptiles on it millions of years ago. I'm sure you all know this. You've heard of pteranodons and Quetzalcoatlus and Microraptor. And that's just 3 of the 130 different species of flying reptiles that we know about. And varieties of these flying reptiles existed with the saltwater crocodile. At the same time, saltwater crocodiles on a beach or in a river somewhere in Gondwana land, and above it was a flying reptile. Except for a big rock impacting our planet 65 million years ago, there might still be flying reptiles on Earth. Now let's think about our infinite universe. What are the odds there isn't a planet somewhere that has actual dragons? Big reptilian creatures that fly, that hunt, that do everything that we've built up in our mythologies about dragons. Maybe not breathe fire, but maybe. We have cobras here that spit venom with 90% accuracy. We have birds that vomit noxious substances to scare away predators. We have fish that spit water from underwater out of the water to get their prey, knock them into the water, and then they eat them. Evolution drives some pretty amazing survival tactics. If you recall the beginning of this talk, I was speaking about faith and reason. Don't worry, I'm not trying to convert all of you into capital G God theists. I'm not trying to do any of that. I am hoping, however, that you will leave today thinking about just what is possible in what is essentially an infinite universe. Think about it. Whatever we can imagine within the physical laws of the universe is possible. Whatever we want to be real may exist somewhere. How do I know this? I don't. Why do I believe this? Because I have faith. I have faith that in an infinite universe, our imaginations are powerful tools that can reinvent this world and create visions of what could be. I have faith that our sense of wonder provides us with the means to dream up incredible visions of what can exist on this world and elsewhere in this infinite universe. I have faith. I have faith that our reason and our imaginations can take humanity where we need to be. I am going to leave you with some words written by Ray Bradbury. We are the miracle of force and matter making itself over into imagination and will. Incredible. The life force experimenting with forms. You for one, me for another. The universe has shouted itself alive. We are one of the shouts. Blessed be, namaste, and amen.